The presentation will have 4 parts. First, the difficulties in publications and the process of writing. Then, explaining why proofreading and editing are important, and proofreading editing techniques, and finally, how to submit your manuscript. And of course, there will be a conclusion. So let's start. Nobody rejecting the manuscript. I mean, rejecting manuscript makes the authors lose their temper because they put a lot of time and effort in the writing on manuscript. So rejecting the manuscript is difficult for them. That's right. Yeah. But this is normal in the field of publications. I mean, anyone, even the professors, can reject their papers. So, first thing when I started to work as a reviewer, first thing the editors taught us to be polite with authors. Use constructive review comments to help authors. Don't judge on the poor English quality. And even though the volume of the scientific research being published is constantly increased, making the publications more harder to accept it. The language quality plays a particularly important role in accepting manuscript. This figure shows the number of publications in all university of in Iraq. I would like to add one comment on this figure. This is number of publications, but not the classification of universities based on publications, because the universities they have different fields, different sectors in research work, so they have more publications or less publications. First thing when you publish work or your work, research work, ask yourself, do I have a story to tell? Because editors and reviewers looking for story and original research to add for the field of knowledge. So this is important. Secondly, is there any audience for my research? These the most important questions, because I saw a lot of, I review a lot of papers. They just research in any work, but they don't add anything to the field. So it's important to make this question for yourself, for your work, to be qualified your research work. There are 4 main types for publication research articles: full articles, research element, review, short communications. So why it's important to understand which type of article I have to publish, to understand how to find the journal. First, when you understand which type of article you have, then check the references you have. Give you indicator which journal to publish, and of course checking the aims and scope of the journal homepage. which I will show you in the last part of this presentation. And some journals, they don't accept Manuscript without invitation, so you have to check it also. And of course, submit your Manuscript for one journal per time. Writing process. This is the most important in this presentation. The process of writing Manuscript or building the article is very important. It's like I say, Manuscript or writing Manuscript is an artwork. So you have carefully grafted and shape it to be looking original and nice. Anyone can understand your work. The process of writing start with figures, putting the figures and tables first, and start to discuss them and analyze the result. So first include only the primary importance result or your findings, and subheading of the result, and try to be clear and easy to understand the figures, because one source said one figure is 1,000 of words. That's the figures tell a story. You don't repeat in your discussion, don't repeat the story, analyze the story now. This is the most important part in discussion. Don't repeat the story saying this is increasing, when increasing the pressure. No, just analyze the phenomena in the figures. And also compare the result you have it with other people. Secondly, write the mythology. The mythology is very important, and technically when you're writing mythology in English language, you have to write in past tense, because something has happened in the past, is not happening now, or is continue to happen now. It's happened in the past. So also don't use active voice, use passive voice, only in mythology. Only in mythology. Try to describe how the problem was studied, which mythology you use to do the research. A few research involve human or animals. You have to get permission for publications. There is some ethical paperwork to follow before you submit the work. Finally, the conclusion should be clear. You see, I didn't say anything about, until now, I didn't say anything about introduction or the title even. Write the conclusion, be clear, provide justification for your work, why you did this, what the new in your field, and suggest some future work, then write the introduction. Someone will say, maybe I will write the introduction in the beginning. Yes, this is your literature review. You have it before you started the work. You can use this draft from literature review to follow the introduction, but don't just copy it and paste it and say, this is my introduction. This is a big mistake, because you need to shape this literature review before putting in the introduction. Finally, title, abstract, keywords. Title, just say, I will say, make it catchy. Catchy is like anyone can search about this title or this subject, can easily find it. And abstract, summarize the work, but don't go over the limit. There's some limits in abstract in each journal, so you have to read the guides. Some question is very important. I think we already discussed it. Keywords is very important. It's helping to find your paper in indexing. Finally, don't forget to thank all the people who help your work, advisors, even proofreaders, or any supplier who may donate materials. Because when you say in Manuscript, you got this material from, let's say, a company, you have to mention it in thanks. Thank you for a company for providing this material or this test. Okay, editors, they check these things and put it in consideration. You are authors, so you have to commit to the ethical agreement between authors. And finally, secondary important or minor importance information or the result, you can put it in supporting information. And there is a new journal now, I'm working with them, Data in a Brief. You can publish new article just using the supporting information. You publish the supporting information in journal A, you can now publish the supporting information again or add some information in another journal. Manuscript language. This is the most important part in the presentation. As I said, quality is very important. It's hard for me, for any editor, to understand what the author tried to say. It's difficult. We cannot predict anything. So you have to be clear in your English and accurate, concise, objective. Don't expect editors, reviewer, publishers, Safir, whatever, they will correct the language. That's not. There's no corrections. This is the author responsibility. I did some check with some figures, author editors, and I saw them, they check the Manuscript first. You see the language is okay. Here is not good. They don't set it to reviewers, just reject it or improvement. So this is important to understand. You say, okay, I will improvement, but this is taking very long time to publish. Someone else will publish your work or your result or the same subject. And the proofreading is something new terminology. I'm lucky I work as proofreading now. Proofreading, anyone can say proofreading is the process of reviewing the final draft to check the consistency, accuracy, and grammar, spelling, formatting. Okay. But this is in general. This is when you send email, when you write a report, when you write your speech. Okay, this is proofreading, but not proofreading in academy. I mean, in publication industry, proofreading is different, totally different. It's just focus on a lot of different errors. They don't check it when you do proofreading for any document. Okay? So first, the proofreaders check the printed version with edited version. So they don't check on laptop, on computer, no. We have to print it and again we're checking the errors and hand it to another people again to check it. So Manuscript proofreading is much more technical, complicated. Someone will say, I will do proofreading, okay, I will publish it. Proofreading required professional people in field, so they can add some ideas or correct some ideas to shape the manuscript. Let's say I have this manuscript, okay, it's written a lot, it's okay, a lot of writing, good, everything is okay, but it's not correct for this journal. So what editors or proof editors can do, they can shape this writing to make it fit to this journal with the aim or the scopus of this journal. Here, the authority for proofreading is limited. The proofreading, you hire someone, do proofreading, he cannot change anything because it's not his work. You didn't give him authority to change anything. So you have to hire another person for proof editing. Now, I'm suggesting that it's better to look someone else who can do proofreading and editing at the same time. Is save the time and money. I will show you how can save money again. A new terminology appears now, technical editing. Technical editing is involving professional people in field to edit to your manuscript. Not anyone, not a professor in university even, a technical person or technical professional person in the field who did this work, who got publications, a lot of publications. He's very familiar with your work. You can get help from technical editors. Yeah, this is important point. University, I saw it in Manchester, all university. There is English Language Center. They can help in proofreading, editing. Not very much in editing because you already have supervisors or colleagues. They can help you, but they can help in proofreading. I suggested this idea to do it in our university. Leveling will happen now, as I have been told. Example of editing. This is my manuscript. Okay, I write it down. Everything is correct. Everything is, there's no errors. Okay, so I show it to another colleague, and he asked me, where you will publish it? I said, this journal. He said, okay, you must skip something important to this journal. They focus on absorption. You didn't say anything about absorption. I said, all my introduction is about absorption and post material and gas, everything is there. He said, they ask their aims is about the isotherm and absorption. You didn't say anything about isotherms. You have to add one paragraph about the isotherm to show to the editors that this work fit to your journal. Another example of editing is just finding errors, but not any English language grammar, English errors. It's like using the correct words in the sentence and the correct word to describe your idea, not any words. I'm proud I have been working with language editing service with Al-Safia for a short time. I learned from them a lot of things. Their service is available, but it's very expensive. I don't recommend it, really. It's very expensive. I recommend it to have this English language service in our university. Checker programs. Someone will say, I will use checker programs in my laptop, in my emails. Yes, okay, that's good. But checker programs or these tools miss a lot of mistakes when you're writing down your manuscript. They can identify words, find double occurrence of words. Yes, okay. But they cannot do the following. Find typographical errors. For example, form instead of form. It's not correct. There instead of there. They can't find these errors. There is a list of things they cannot do, these tools. It's just like coding, writing coding. You're programming this code or this tool to something specifically. It's not for manuscript, not for publications. It's not for manuscript to check. It's not for editing even. So briefly, I will give you some techniques I have learned, and Allah willing, I will have another workshop teaching the people how they can do proofreading by themselves. Manuscript language first, tenses, very important to understand when you use present tense and past tense. As I said, past tense when mythology, present tense about the result. You're talking about the result or something, facts. Secondly, grammar. Using active voice, you have to understand when I have to use active voice, passive voice. And also avoid abbreviation like it's, isn't. I saw it on a lot of manuscript. It's not correct. We revise, even if I found one it's in one manuscript, I can revise it. Or even I can reject it based that the author, they can have to know these things before to submit or even before writing the manuscript. Manuscript grammar or manuscript language grammar eliminate or reduce some words. They make it like shiny. The sentence is making a lot of words in it. There is limit in sentence, so you have to understand this limit to describe the idea or the statement you have to say in this limit. Don't put a lot of words just to avoid plagiarism. Don't use it. Okay, there is another techniques to avoid plagiarism. Again, double check unfamiliar words. There is some pause terms they are not familiar with many people. You have to check it. Manuscript tense sentence, as I said, put one idea in the sentence or one statement. Don't confuse the reader or the editor or reviewers with a lot of ideas in one sentence or very long sentence. Okay? Keep related words together. this is very important. Subject and verb need to be close enough, not very closely, close enough to understand what's happening in this sentence, what's the idea here. Because you're writing not for native speakers only, you're writing for non-native speakers. They cannot understand everything in English. So you have to be easy with them and pay attention for this sentence. Try to always put a positive statement, not negative. Even if you're discussing something, another work for another author, just try to be biased, try to be positive with his result. Don't judge it and make it very negative about it. Editors will read it, and maybe his best friend or best colleague. So he will understand you judging this author. Maybe he did mistake in the past, did something wrong in his result. Don't try to just justify, judge and make negative statement about it. Try to be positive. Paragraphs, I always say, starting with one paragraph, I will understand the idea. First sentence in one first paragraph, I will understand this paragraph, what you want to say. Second paragraph, another idea, don't repeat it. Try to be short. There's limit even in Manuscript. And try to make it like chain. So, you're moving one idea to another without leaving gaps or leaving important ideas, because when you do that, you're losing your audience. So someone will make it difficult to understand now. I got this idea, first paragraph, the second paragraph, I have no idea about what he is talking about, so he will leave your papers, okay, your manuscript. There will be no citation for you, okay? Classical errors to avoid using these words, unqualified, meaning you're just saying this, that. You don't explain what is this, what is that. You know what you are saying. Okay, I'm a reader now. I don't understand what I'm saying about. What you are implying now. What's this? What's that? Avoid successive propositional phrases. Again, I saw this technique to avoid plagiarism. It's not working. You got a rejection for this technique. So reduce the propositional phrases. As you see in this example, using of, for is not necessary. You can use it. You can rephrase the sentence in different way, make it more simpler and easier to understand. Avoid subjective words like high resolution, new result, latest finding. This is making the editors or reviewers doubt your result, really. When I see this is the new finding, first when I see this word, these words, I will check your subject in very details now, because you're saying you're having latest finding in this field. I will deeply check your result now. Every paper published, I will check it again and again to check that your result is really new. Don't say we believe, try to show it in the figures. Don't try to say something is not, you cannot show it in the figures. Another example, another proofreading techniques, cross-reference and figures, captions. Use the captions to make it easier to the readers, editors, reviewers, whatever. Your audience will make it easier to understand and follow the research. So when you say, see the figure 2, make it caption so he cannot scroll down the paper, so it's easy, he can just click it on it and go figure 2. And try to use minimum numbers. Don't try to use a lot of numbers in the figures. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and A. I saw this, these errors. It's not correct to use it. Always be honest with your mistakes. So you're reading, before you're submitting the paper, you're reading something not correct. You know it. Try to fix it, even if it is in your result. One of the things everyone can start with it, bring out the papers, read it in different ways. So I'm reading this paper, okay, starting from beginning to the end. Again, from end to beginning, from left to right, from right to left. Why? Because you're looking for mistakes in editing. So something missing there, you don't know it where. So read it from all directions. Or ask for language editing service. For writing proofreading emails, just double check the grammars, names, data, times, and don't send it without checking your email. You say, okay, email is not very important. It's your reputation here. Your reputation depends on this email. So someone will read your email and say, oh, it's not very interesting. Leave it. Now the last part, submission process, is like also techniques there. Writing editor letter or cover letter is very important, and you have to be brief and provide overview for your background of your study, not yourself. Overview of mythology, and try to summarize the findings of the result. Statement, this is very important. Try to write your statement in this paper that you didn't publish these result anywhere else. And don't use jargon language. You say, this is just letter for editors. I will pay them money to publish my work, so they will accept anything. No. They are classy in these things, really. They don't accept any work. Avoid use hammer to be fun with your writing. Just say writing something funny. Don't use it, really. Writing highlights. Highlights is just like 3, 4 to 5 points. Each point, one sentence describing very important thing. Don't write a lot of information in headlines. Try to summarize your result. to make it interest. Because first thing when readers read title, abstract, headlines. So try to make it interest. The most important part when you submit your work, don't trust any website to submit your work. Submit your work through the Scopus or Clarivate. By opening the journal website, you already found the journal you want to publish. Now, open this journal website through Scopus or Clarivate. This is very important because nowadays a lot of journals, they just create website, the same website for any journal you know, and you submit there and pay money, and they steal your money. So try to open the journal website through Scopus and Clarivate website. Check the Web of Science, the citation index. This is important. The promotion structure in Iraq now, they accept only SCI, SCIE, and they don't accept ESCI. And this is for reason, really. Forget him. Bill said that among the database produced by Clarivate analyticals, this citation index is easiest one to get. So some journals, they go to this index to be in Clarivate, just to be in Clarivate, and you're submitting this work for them, they will accept it and get the money, but it's not worth to publish in this journal. Okay? I will give example of this journal. I work with them for a very long time now. Microporous and mesoporous materials. I'm checking submission, the paper, where is it? Supporting open access, so it's free. Unless I want the figures will be printed in colors. There you have to pay. View articles. I will check their articles. Guide for authors. What's the style they required, how to write, what they need to there. I have to read it very carefully. And abstracting, indexing is very important also. And checking aims and scopus already. Important information to know, citing score, sorry, and impact factor. All of us, I know, for sure, understand what's the cite score and impact factor. But why some journals asking authors to cite from their journals or cite from journal they have higher impact factor? Because impact factor is not important, cite score is not important. The most important for journals, SNP and Schimago. We'll say, what was, this is SNP. SNP is classified journals based on the field you work in it. Let's say, I publish in microporous and mesoporous material, this journal. There is different field in this journal. There is chemist, there is physics, engineering, materials, a lot of fields. So you have to check the SNP for this journal based on the field. So they classify journals based on the fields. This is the definition of SNP. And Schimago is moving the impact factor from higher journal to another journal. By this technique, some journals, they just started now, and after 2 or 3 months, they have very high impact factor and very high schemago because they got a citation from their paper by using citation for another papers. Here you submit your work. You have to create sign in. Usually now in Scopus or this journal, maybe another journal, they don't use it. Editorial manager. It's very easy. Either you have ORCID profile, or you just write your profile and fill all the information, write it down, try to be providing your email, official email, university email, because you can get a lot of opportunities from this journal later. And submit your manuscript, choosing the type of articles you have, and follow the steps. It's very easy. Uploading the manuscript, all the necessary files or document. Try to, in your desktop or in your computer, to create one folder. You have all these files in one folder, so you cannot get confused where I put this or there. Data in brief, they started in 2018 with just publishing supporting information like in videos, and they changed the idea about this journal. Now in 2020 they have 0.9 impact factor because they're working with a lot of journals, publish supporting information like a new article. They have a lot of author guides. It's very easy to understand. Method XX is it's like you're choosing the method you want to present your mythology. If your mythology is something new, there is something you can show it in a specific way. As you see, the charge for publications is 0, free of charge. Yeah. If you wanted to be printed in color, you have to pay. Writing down the title, make sure you don't just copy it and paste it, try to write it, because sometimes when you copy it, some type of errors happen. In conclusion, I will say writing manuscript is an artwork, so grafted, really. Don't use check programs. Try to use proofreading editing techniques, or you can use the service if it is available. Understand the submission process is not very difficult. It's very easy to follow the steps. I would like to thank my friends, Dr. Thamar Al-Amari and Dr. Wafa Abdelkader. They helped me in this presentation because I have a lot of thoughts, so they helped me to organize the thoughts.